Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at SoundHound AI. It is time for another update, and today we will be looking for a potentially quite nice opportunity here in the very short time frame. But before we get there, I would like to go quickly through the larger time frames, and here we start with this movement to the upside, within which we are tracking most likely a diagonal pattern. Now this could technically still work out as an impulse. I just don't necessarily prefer that interpretation based on the structure that has developed, but it can work out. And then here we would be tracking a 1-2 setup, where here we would see a third wave up, and then we have our fourth wave correction that has occurred here. Now within this wave 4 we had quite a quick movement to the downside compared to the length that it took to actually build this wave 2. So there may be a question mark within the diagonal interpretation, because yeah, in the impulse it would be a wave 1 up here, and then the wave 2 wouldn't be as long. But there is a good chance that this wave 4 may see another low and reset basically still within the area of support that we are tracking between the $12.8 all the way down to the $4.4 level at the 61.8% retracement. And as long as that holds, we can still track a fifth wave to the upside. But even at this point, we do have the possibility of tracking a fifth wave up, which would have already started. Now, in that interpretation, we have so far completed only 3 waves up, and now we are looking for the correction here in a wave 4, in which case we are tracking a possible wave A, in which we expect to form a 5-wave structure within a leading diagonal. Of course, we have the yellow interpretation, within which we are looking for a reset within the wave 4 in white. And then in the shorter time frame, this is what we are tracking, yeah? Within this movement, this wave A to the upside, we have completed a wave 1 up, a wave 2 down, and then in the third wave up we have an ABC pattern, and within the wave C we were tracking in the previous video still further possible extensions. We didn't get them, and that is fine. In that case we can assume that this third wave is complete and we can remove the smaller counts. But then on this time frame we have this larger area of support, which we are pushing towards the limits right now, because it only holds support between the $17.9 level all the way down to the $12.7 level. And then if this turns out to fail, well, we would need to track something like in the yellow interpretation, where we are looking for a 5-wave structure to the downside to basically reset the wave 4. And then in the even smaller time frame we are tracking here, actually this is from the previous video, yeah, we were looking for the ABC pattern to the upside. We had this area of support which didn't work out, and that is fine. It did indicate to us, since we broke it, we managed to get above, yeah, but it indicated to us that this is likely going to fail. Even from actually this point, yeah, we managed then to invalidate this possible AB by breaking below the beginning of the wave A. We recovered, but then we still continued in the downtrend, which is why I always say that these areas of support are quite relevant, yeah? In this case, we pushed below it, we recovered and found resistance within the 78.6% retracement, and then continued lower. We managed to push back within it, but then we pushed lower once again. So this is why I am talking about the probabilities that do get significantly decreased in the cases where, yeah, we don't manage to hold the areas of support. Of course, we can now remove this interpretation, and now we can track a possible ABC pattern within this internal wave 4, and we are looking to form this wave C and find the bottom within this area. Remember, the 61.8% retracement, the $12.7 level, is the most relevant one, since this is the only one left basically, and if we break below that, well, it is likely that we will follow through within the yellow interpretation. The probabilities would heavily shift and skew towards that scenario. But at the moment we do still have the possibility of tracking this ABC pattern, since we are within it, and within this movement to the downside I am looking for a possible impulse. Now the structure here in this initial movement down is interpretable. I could argue that we may have a couple of 1-2 setups in this area as well, and then we have here a third wave down, a fourth wave up, and then we expect to complete here a fifth wave to the downside, within which we really already have a 1, 2, 3, 4 possibly complete, and we could be in the fifth wave down. Now, with that said, I could see this fifth wave extend more, make even another correction and an additional low after forming a new local low. And even at that point, I do have to say, within this choppy structure, we may still need an internal 4-5 to actually complete the entire pattern. We will be tracking a relevant area of resistance, which probably is for the best to track the largest, the deepest possible resistance, just to make sure we are identifying correctly the levels that we must break for this trend down to have likely stopped. And in that case, at this point, yeah, we will likely need to adjust it further once we push to new local lows. Yeah, we would need to shift it as well. But with the current lows that we have, I would be watching out at the levels between that $14.4 all the way up to the $15.8 level. And if we manage to break above the 78.6%, or no, the 50% retracement in this case, this wave C to the downside is likely done. We would still need to watch out for the yellow interpretation, because in the scenario where this would develop within an ending diagonal in the larger wave C in yellow, this could turn out to still be an ABC pattern, in which case, yeah, we would need to allow for further retracements. But for now, I am watching for the bottom within this internal structure to the downside. And in that case, we can watch here even in the very, very short time frame, where, yeah, most likely we need at least one more low. We may need two, but we need at least one. And in that case, I would be watching out for resistance still, if we manage to push higher, between the $13.6 all the way up to the $14 level. If we manage to break above the 50% retracement here, well, in that case, it is likely that this movement to the downside has either been completed or that it is not developing within an impulse necessarily, and that we may be witnessing something like an ABC, or that we had an ABC pattern here done. And yeah, in that case, we may need to watch for the larger area of resistance, which is why I always recommend to just zoom out in general, to be watching out for the larger time frame. But for now, you have here a small signal, a very tiny signal in this area of resistance, and a more significant one in this larger time frame area of resistance. And yeah, if we look from a larger time frame perspective, we can clearly tell, even just from looking, that we have exceeded the 100% extension of the wave A in this push to the downside. We have gotten, to the 123.6% extension, and seem to be heading towards the 138.2% extension, which is very much in line with the 61.8% retracement. Well, that is a bit of a warning sign that this may be instead a wave 3 to the downside instead of a wave C. It could still be the case that it is a wave C, and I do always recommend that we trade the levels, not the counts. And in that case, we have the 61.8% retracement. If we fall below it, well, we would have a pretty quick and early signal that this movement to the upside is likely done, that we are likely going to follow in the yellow interpretation, new lows, and yeah, we would likely expect quite further downside extensions, where an ideal target for the wave C in yellow would be the 100% extension of the wave A, and in this case it would be around the $5.8 level. So if we break below the 61.8% retracement, that would be an ideal target that I would be watching out for the movement to the downside in this wave C. And for now, these are the levels. This is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.